and I don't know who else will be here, but I have two great stories about Shimu. I think they're great. The first one is when Master Zhang first started teaching, I think it was the first or second year, he took a group of us to Hawaii. He didn't know how much trouble we'd be, but he took us because he loved to swim and he was really interested. And Barbara was there and maybe Cheryl was there. I can't remember. So he really wanted to go on the glass bottom boat because he said the boat will go down, he said, like a submarine. And that's what sinking is about. Submarine. Remember, Cheryl, were you there at Hawaii? No. Well, he was enchanted by the idea of the submarine represented the sinking process. And then he said, the one thing that nobody in the class has, there's nobody in the class that sinks with every move, with every weight change. And that's the worst fault the class has. And I think all of us, I notice sometimes I sink, but I don't sink 100%. Okay, the story, Barbara will remember this. This is about Shimu because she's kind of a cipher. You think she's kind of not that funny, really. Mm-hmm. So there were about half a dozen boys, half a dozen women. And at one point, the women looked around and they said, where are the men? They ditched us. So Shimu says, we don't need no men to complete us. And she started this chant and we all started doing it. Barbara, remember, we don't need no men to complete us. We don't need no men anymore. We don't need no men to complete us. Anyway, so that's Shimu and her mischievous. Then there's another Shimu story. I was at, I came back from my Mandarin class. I was, not a lot of it is taken. I know some great Chinese songs. Anyway, and I said to Shimu, I said, they taught me this word, sugui. I said, it means pervert. Why would they show me that word? Like, what use is it? When am I going to use that in casual conversation? Shimu says, very good word, very useful. I said, really, when? She says, you have a friend. Your friend hugs you. Your friend hugs you too long. You say, sugui, sugui, and you push her away. So I said, oh. So I went over and sat in her lap and hugged her. And she pushes me away and says, sugui, sugui. And then she says, very good for old friend, not very good for new friend. So anyway, those are my Shimu stories.
Oh, those are great, Kat.
So anyway, how are you guys? What, oh my goodness, someone else came in. Kate's here. So I thought Michael and I were talking about it being pretty loose, people saying what they wanted to say. I kind of wanted to stop. I've been wanting to do this, is a meditation on the feet, because the feet have 26 bones for each feet. And do any of you know how many nerve endings are in each foot? Any idea?
Oh, you said there were thousands,
200,000 nerve endings in each foot, 200,000. And if you think of a pin touches your foot any place and you can feel it. And in the center of the foot is the bubbling spring, and it's like a vacuum, right? And the ancient masters supposedly could make that vacuum, put their foot down and lift up a board with the vacuum in their bubbling spring, or with the bubbling spring in their hands. So I wanted to do a short Tai Chi, a short bubbling spring meditation. So if you can stand, it might be more fun. So I'm going to stand. Okay, so if you want to of the perimeters of the feet melting into the earth, and you want to think of your feet centered between inside, outside of the soles, and the front and the back. And traditionally, the exact measurement is 3, 2, 1. 3 parts in the heel, 2 parts in the big toe, and 1 part in the little toe. And so as you stand, if you just shift your weight side to side, what you'll notice is your weight will go off one side of your foot. It'll go from it won't stay halfway between the inside and outside. You have to really be conscious that you're keeping the soles even. And there's a story of a arrogant student who wanted this teacher to teach him. And he said, I've been to a lot of teachers, but I thought I'd come to you and you could teach me. And he says, well, go outside. You took your shoes off, bring them to me, and then I'll see if I'll teach you. And he looked at his shoes. He said, your shoes are worn unevenly. Come back when your shoes are worn evenly. So, okay. So we want to think of our feet so that the perimeters of the feet are evenly distributed, so that vacuum in the center, which is the first kidney point, and you probably know this, but I just refresh us. So as you shift from side to side, it's a secondary heart pump. That's why walking is so good and Tai Chi is so good. So if you shift from side to side, you can start to feel that bubbling spring point. And what I've been noticing that I wanted to share is the more you notice that bubbling spring point, the more alive it gets. And it's actually sensuous. It has a quality of delight and sensuousness. And if you go side to side, you can feel it. If you put one foot forward, you go forward and back. Now, when you go forward and back, you want to keep your toes and your heels even. As you go back, the toes come up, don't let them. As you go forward, the heels come up, don't let them. So you keep that sense of the bubbling spring vacuum as you shift your weight. Okay, so actually, developing the bubbling spring it's a sense of that you have more joy. And the last thing I want to think about that is Thich Nhat Hanh, that Vietnamese monk who says, walk as if your feet are kissing the earth. Leave footprints of joy. And I think the earth kind of needs our good intention these days. So when I practice, I tune into my feet and I really think of my feet, those 200,000 little rootlets, connecting with the earth energy and the tree roots, and just sending energy back as I'm collecting energy from the earth and from the universe. So thank you. And now I would like to see who has some kind of thing they want to say, like maybe something they're practicing, what their practice is like these days.
Yeah, so I can say something. I think I can follow what you just said, and to just since we are very senior student, to share what I find through by learning from Master Zhang, and then right now I teach my student, right? But basically, if you think about it, you are absolutely correct. In the practice, if you do let's say if you do a Pong Lü Ji An, right? Pong, Lü, Ji, An. The food has a lot to do with it. So when you Pong, you kind of the bubble spring empty. You try to grab the floor. Yeah. So you kind of tension your knee a little bit, slide a little bit, because while your foot is not. So now you actually almost try to really to fly. And then when you normally you relax your foot, just plant your foot, completely gravity takes space. Yes, stand over. So that kind of gives you a breathing part of your foot. Kind of, you say, Pong, this is grabbing the floor, your toe grabbing the floor. The bubble spring is empty. Now, open your toe, let the bubble spring come down, just comfortably sit down your foot. And at the same time, you actually also come together, let's do one more time, you Pong this, your diaphragm go up. So your center hip and upper hip separate. Yeah. And then while you're grabbing the floor, you're very vulnerable, but very sensitive. Now, when you coming down, you open your toe, and then you exhale, let your diaphragm go down and beat the hip, beat the dantian in the middle. And then if you think about breathing, you say, breathing in, inhale, grabbing the floor, yes, diaphragm up. Now exhale, toe open, diaphragm come down, exhale, beat in the middle. And that process, generally, I use that for that particular for teaching. I use it for almost all of the movement, even in the form. But of course, you cannot force it because particularly for beginners, because people don't get used to the full grab flow all the time. So it's actually it's not a tiny grab. It's making your foot very sore. It's actually very gentle, just like it's like your hand like this. Yeah. So it's follow your breathing pattern.
So would you say empty, full?
When you say, because empathy for is very, to me, it's not a clear communication, particularly for student, but the good way would be this, right? When you say you empty on your stomach, you almost full on your chest, right? That's how you inhale. When you exhale, you actually very empty on your chest, but you are very full on your stomach because you meet in middle. You bite curve, you try to control it, right? It's like any animal, right? You basically, that's where you, so I'm not sure the empty full, which part of it is, right? But the key is very important. When you inhale, your chest is pretty open. You are inhale lots of stuff, right? Your separation, you basically build your sensitivity, reading is anything around you. Now you neutralization, control, that's what you do. And the control, more than 60% of control is based on your gravity of your torso. That's why you have to think. You want to get over him, and then you just use the gravity of torso to sit on him, and then at the same time, because you are so relaxed, you are very sensitive. Whatever his response is, you know how to adjust. And there's another 40%.
It's that weight of like a baby when you pick it up, or when you pick a baby up, it's very heavy, or when a child doesn't want you to pick them up and they suddenly sink and you try to pick them up. It's that kind of, you let all, the chi just lets down.
Yeah, so exactly. So to me, I think 60% of the G is your go over him, gravity take over, right? You need to sit on him and then you read it, you relax. And then the 40% of the G is actually you go under him. That's your hip has to go under his hip. You have to go close to him, use your hip to lift him up, to unroot him, right? So that's about 40%. That is normally you have to move your foot to make sure your hip really invade his hip space, for that to happen. But however, for us, majority of the movement is really based on your actual gravity. You have to be comfortable how to roll your body and make sure your torso is on him. Like from here, let's say, the torso is up. Torso is down. When your torso is down, you put your weight, you're reading, know how to adjust. I mean, that I just exchange, that's following what Kat, what you have said, right? I just want to exchange what I teach my students today.
That's exactly what I want. Chef Son, I was wondering, you've been teaching a lot now. I was just wondering, what insights, what have you come up with? How has your teaching changed, or what kind of things have been important to you in your teaching these days?
Yeah, hi everybody.
Hi,
I have different levels of classes, and there really depends on the level that I have different focuses. For example, for more experienced people, the class start with half an hour standing breathing, and that is rather demanding, and doing nothing but standing deep breathing. So that's the main focus, because they already learned plenty of hand forms, but now with that form itself is just learning movement. With if you don't incorporate more internal part of it, it's just continue external form in some ways. And silk railing is also a big part of the focus. So that's.
So Ben, could you show us how you would start the beginning of a standing meditation? What instruction you would give? I just want to be reminded of it. Would you do that now, or is that
Yeah,
okay?
I can explain to start is the instruction for me to let my students know, because they practically, okay, how should I put it this way? For my more advanced students, they should already know. And so all I'm reminding them is keep your central line nice and straight without tension, and breathe normally as much as you can, because breathing is regulation. It's regulating your breathing. So you don't want to forcefully in and out. You just when you in, like what both Kat and Michael emphasized just a minute ago. When you inhale, your whole body gentle stretch, your tendon, your ligament, or your connective tissues, including muscles. Everything stretch gently based on what you can manage. And that's every time you breathe in deep, that's gentle stretching happens. Then when you exhale, when you breathe out gently, that's when shoulder down, waist relax. Then gradually you're going to deliver all the way to your feet. And that's where going to, again, hit your bubbling well. And that the circle, that 大周天, the connection with your, we call heaven, earth, and you being. So you start making that connection. So the first reminder is relax as much as you can and focus on your breathing regularly and as deep as possible. And gradually, you're not going to just stand there, fight, use your physical strength. Because at first I will only do 5 minutes, even 3 minutes. Because the longer you get to, you start getting into a physical fight if you don't accumulate that process of earning the longer time of standing breathing. Otherwise, it will be counterproductive. Just simply look at the clock, it's no good. So you have to earn it. 2 minutes.
Can I tell you a story about what happened to me one evening doing standing meditation with Master Zhang? He was teaching us during the day. And one evening in the park under the trees, he started teaching us standing meditation. And he stood in front of me, very close to me. And I could feel his energy. It didn't match mine, it was different. And then I fainted. And the next thing I knew, I was on the bench and he had put pressure under my nose on my upper lip, and I woke up. And I don't usually faint, thank God, but I just wonder how could you help me understand what happened? Any of you, but Xiaofeng, I mean, what do you think? He would tease me then about it. Do you remember this, anybody? When I fainted, and it was a very interesting experience, but I could feel his energy. It was very different from mine. It didn't, I didn't understand it. It was really powerful. And then I got woozy, and then I just fell right down, and he picked me up, and I came to later. Have any idea what might have happened?
Has that ever happened to you, Xiaofeng, when you were teaching with standing? Has anyone ever fainted?
No, thank goodness. No.
Now you know what to do. You go like that.
He put his finger underneath my nose, and it was some pressure point, I guess, and he pressed really hard, and then it was like smelling salts. I just came to, and I was totally fine. I wasn't dizzy, but I just never talked to anybody about how I could understand that, except that our chi was so different, and I was overwhelmed by his chi.
I mean, I can
I
understand.
have a little similar, it's kind of not really exactly the same, but somewhat similar. experience. Before I really knew how to do deep breathing, I used to like go into almost a hypnotic state. I didn't realize you were supposed to stay alert, I thought I was, but for some reason I would sink into this sort of weird state. And then it was wrong. And I was standing under a set of fluorescent lights that were off. It was kind of dark in that area of the room because I wanted, you know, to kind of be isolated. And then without warning, somebody came in and flipped on the lights that were right above me, only like not even 4 feet above my head, like 3 feet above my head. And it was like an electric shock that went through my body. And it really stunned me I didn't faint or fall, but it reverberated through my body for like a few hours. It was really unsettling. And I realized years later that I was going too deep, that you don't want to go deep. You want to be aware of everything that's in your body, everything that's around you, you want to be aware of, and you want your mind to touch that. And that's how you can ward off thoughts and other things, is by keeping your mind sharp. That was kind of a lesson to me, the danger of not keeping your mind sharp, of allowing yourself to go under, basically.
I also feel like if you get in that kind of space, you really have to go to your danshan and also your feet. Feel your feet on the ground and let the energy go away from the head and be grounded. That's, yeah. I was wondering, Kate, are you still here?
Body you need to be aware of.
Me?
My experience.
Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yeah.
You
Thank
can hear you.
Thank you for that. Kate, are you here?
I'm here, but I can't, can you see me? Can you hear me?
No.
We cannot
No.
see you, but we can hear you.
What's that?
We can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, so if you can hear me, I have a question for you, Barbara. And that is, what do you think that, I remember the moment very well. What do you think happened?
Well, it was the beginning of my Taichi experience, like in 1992. And I wasn't really centered in my body. And I just felt overwhelmed by some energy that I didn't understand. I always thought he was generating some very perfect, strong energy that just overwhelmed me. It wasn't like when you do push hands and you try to match, you're not trying. I just felt it was unmatched energy, and that it just, but I don't really know what happened. I mean, I don't faint. It was that experience. And so it was something about my energy and his energy at that moment, but I don't.
And also, I think that it is, right? I personally don't have that experience, but I did say when for all these years, for people with meditation and with Qigong meditation, and it's very common when you do a Qigong, particularly Qigong is a moving meditation, right? When you do it, when you study meditation, your body starts to move, certain parts move without you do not actually intentionally move them. They just move themselves. And I did ask John about it, but I personally never had it, but I saw it's common. And John just said, well, when that happens, number one is you never try to, you did not discover the gold. Trust me.
You did not what?
You did not find the gold on the ground. That's what you cannot. It's not a treasure. It's not something really valuable to you. So don't get overexcited. So that means you do not try to amplify it. Number one. Number two, do not try to stop it. Because the moment you try to stop it, that means you are not relaxed. You have stress. So that thing will come and go. And you see people actually try to amplify it. Those people go crazy and eventually put his body injury or something else going on, right? Because remember, for Qigong, if you think about Qigong, really it's about three things, right? In Chinese called 精气神. It's about your mind, your spirit, and your dantian, and the qi, which you think is your environment around you, your power, right? And those three things has to be aligned together. And when, particularly when the moment when you, so if they are not balanced, each one take over, control of other two, you become unbalanced, right? So that is really the key of the whole person, right? So you can, none of them should take control. Otherwise, it's not a stress relief. You have to find the balance, how to make them align together, right? So for the moment which you have with John, to me, I think it's understandable. Well, let's say if you are I always use shellfish as a good example. With when I teach people Qigong, you just open, close, open, close, right? When you are open, you try to absorb all the energy around you. You are very sensitive. But he could have a lot of qi, like John he has much more powerful qi, right? And that could disturb your balance because for that part of the moment, you just completely very vulnerable and listening, right? But in generally, you would be sensitive, you would like shellfish, you open. When the ocean wave comes, what happened? When no water is going to close and open again, close. So
yes, that makes a lot of sense to me because I am in an open position. That's my style in life. And I think I was learning I didn't know how to close. And so I absorbed, that makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you.
Yeah, but however, personally, I never had the experience which you have. And also, even for my Qigong, I teach people, other people do that. I never had that. To me, pretty comfortable. But I do understand that's very common. And it's actually not, you should not, firstly, definitely should not be worried at all. And secondly, you should not try to stop it.
No, I didn't. I just went down and, it was very relaxing. There was no problem, but it was just so weird. I never forgot it because, and he would mention it to me, remember you faint? And I don't know what it meant to him because we didn't have that kind of conversation about it, but he would say, remember you faint? And I said, yes, I remember.
And you talk about energy, right? So as I just shared, John definitely told me when he was younger, when he practiced Tai Chi, learn Tai Chi, he do a lot of hard walking standing to try to understand the meaning of the relaxation, the think, right? Remember, you got to be really gentle and sensitive. And he said, if we go to park, because Chinese park, lots of people, right? It's very crowded park. But if he find some spot, they're going to practice Tai Chi. After Tai Chi, if he do standing meditation, people generally will avoid to close around him. And to him, originally when he was started has this behavior, he's also surprised too. But of course, once he get really used to that's fine. And that's just something he told me. He said, well, which means if you do it, maybe your kid's gonna walk like around you, like not want to close to you. That's fine too. Just as you just say, it's kind of energy expression. If you have that sense, you could be just the signal cannot be detailed described, but other people will read it.
Yeah.
They know it, try to avoid it. Right.
I found it very inspiring what Michael's been saying, and Xiaofeng, what you were saying, it inspired me. I haven't thought of standing in that way, and I thought it was really beautiful. I'm going to use that when I teach. And what I'd like is Kate and Cheryl and Freddie, I'd like to hear some more women of experiences that they've had teaching or insights that they've had. Hey women, what do you think? What do you have to teach me? I really, everyone has something to teach. Like what changes have had come in your practice lately? How has your practice changed with COVID?
Say something. Something that's been I've been studying a little bit with Gilles Marin, who does the Qinei Song in the East Bay, and he's got a course that he's running right now called The Biology of Consciousness, One Mind, Five Intelligences. And I think what I've been learning from him is this amazing connection to the elements, the 5 elements, and the Chinese medicine, the Taoism, stuff like that. It's been great, but when things get really stressful, I've been doing these sunning meditations. I've been going outside on the deck when I need a break, and I've been trying to do it a couple times a day, covering my face with my mask just to protect my skin. And then I sun my eyelids for about 3 minutes. And he talks about in this meditation sort of bringing the sun to the back of the eyeballs, and brain down the spine, and then to the skin, so that it can release all the dopamine and all the healing elements of the sun in a very short period of time. It's great. It's a very quick release for me. And if it's, you know, if it's really smoky, I'm not out there, but if it's just a little bit smoky, I can do it for a short amount of time and just be out in the sun. So that's been really a really nice practice. And it's been kind of a drag, obviously, for most of us here in California, because we can't go outside very much. This has been one way for me to kind of, you know, do that.
Oh, I'm going to do that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I have something that I've been really playing with that has been very exciting for me. And if you stand up and do it, it's more fun. It's more bubbling spring thing in your feet, the bubbling spring point, which I know it has a Chinese name, I can't remember. But if you do the circling, the one where you skim the sheet off the ocean, and you think of the bubbling springs in the feet. Okay, so the next thing is your feet are even on the ground. See if you can possibly feel the bubbling spring connect to the tailbone as you circle. And it takes a lot of focus, but it's pretty interesting. If you start to do that, your spine, you start the spiral. The spiral starts in your feet. It starts, the whole spine spiral starts in your feet in the bubbling spring. So if you connect your bubbling springs to the tailbone, it's pretty interesting. Now, I've been playing with that, and sometimes I feel it more than others. Once you get the bubbling spring to the tailbone, see if you can find the tailbone to the bubbling spring connecting to the very center bubble of the belly Taichi, the belly Danshan. Right between, below your navel, right in the center of your body, imagining that bubble connecting from the bubbling spring to the bubble in the center of the Danshan. And what I'm playing with is, that's almost as much as I can handle sometimes, is trying to further connect the bubbling spring to the heart center, right around nipple level, right in the center of the body. So you're connecting that to the bubbling springs. You can shift your weight. And then if you're following your hands with your eyes, connecting to the center of your head to the bubbling spring, it's possible to feel all that. In slow bits, I'm starting to feel those connections. And how important it is to follow your hands with your eyes, because if your eyes are open, the cervical vertebra have started to turn a lot more. And this is kind of what I've been playing with a lot, and it comes and goes, how much I can assimilate of it. But I have high hopes of finding more and more connections. There's those 24 vertebrae in the spine, and all part of the spinal thing. And once you get that, then even just gathering qi, feeling the bubbling spring to the tailbone, the danshan, the heart, and the center of the head, connecting as much as you can. And anyway, that's what I've been playing with, and it's been very interesting for me. So I wanted to share that. It's a long search. It's going to take a long time to really understand it, but it's fun. Freddie, what do you have? Are you still there? Malika, have you been practicing? Have you been finding anything in your practice that's been interesting to you?
Yeah, I don't know why I can't get my picture to happen. I tried, I went left and came back, but anyhow, it gave me no choice. So sorry, I'm blank. Asked you to start your video. Oh, so
Yeah.
you have to let me do it, huh?
No, I don't have to do it, but I can do it. Let me ask you, anybody who doesn't have a video.
Okay, that's probably what happened to Kate too. So yeah, I've been practicing most every day, especially during COVID. I go over to the pond and I practice outside, and amazing things happen with the nature. The frogs like me. As soon as I start practicing, they start singing, and then everybody takes off all across the pond. And I take that as a compliment that they like my energy. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Every day I do a different focus. And so sometimes I think about working on moving from the Dantian and having that be the focus. And I don't know, every day there's different stuff that goes on. But when we were talking about, I don't know, earlier when Michael was talking, I was just reminded of this gem he told me many years ago at the beginning of the second half of the 48, which is what I practice. I do the 48. I don't know the 83 and the 24. I just blend into the 48. But anyhow, Michael showed me this he in this place where there's sort of like, how do I describe it? You lift up and then you come down, kind of that beautiful prancing motion. And he said, feel the earth pushing you up. And that always rings true when I do that move of being lifted by the earth. It's beautiful. So thank you, Michael, for that image.
Can you say more about that?
I feel the earth helping me. Instead of me pulling apart from the earth, I feel the earth giving me energy to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think that Monica had that experience. That means she's very relaxed on the food with earth. Because earth by itself is not going to move in. For you to have the energy field of earth that help you move around. That means you are very lively, right? So that's really a part of this whole practice is to be able to be lively and then to find the search connection of every part of your body and with the environment, right? And I completely agree with that. When I do form, if I really in the mood, do a very smooth form, I have what exactly you described the feeling too. So the floor to me is soft. And I just up and down, and speed fast, slow. It completely depends on where my mind is.
Mm-hmm.
And the experience itself is very smooth, because once you feel that the earth help you, you jump, everything feels very smoothly, right? It's just like you don't feel like suddenly pushed. It's just feel the whole thing is come with your whole body frame. It's body and all it's one object. It's not a certain I hit my knee. It's actually the whole body is moving.
I have experienced it like a magnet.
Mm-hmm.
That the earth and my foot are like the way when two parts of a magnet are coming together. And is that like the push that you feel, Malika? Is it different?
I don't feel a pull down. I feel a push up.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel what Michael was just talking about, where I'm connected to the earth and the earth is just a part of my movement. I haven't looked at it that way before. I've looked at it as the earth is pushing me, but I think it's being connected to the earth and being one body.
But Barbara, I think for you, when you say magnet, it's not really I would have thought it's actually correctly described it.
Mm.
Magnet feeling is actually everywhere. You think about Tai Chi, Zhang always says the sixth alignment. That alignment, Zhang says close, is Jin Yu Qi, like a spirit and your mind and your Dantian has to close, right? Your Dantian and your Qi has to close. Your Qi and your Li, which is the power, has to close. And when he say close, it's actually, to me, it's a very simple way to describe it. And he also said that the hip and the shoulder has to close. elbow and knee has to close, right? Hand and foot has to close, and it has to be aligned. So to me, that whatever we describe close, the better we describe is magnet.
Really?
Exactly. Let's say your dantian. The moment you separate the dantian, you might have sensation you want to pull down to close. If you don't have the sensation, you are too stressed out. Your form not right. When you push it up, you have the sensation you want to push it back again.
Beautiful.
And when you do the form, let's say you do the form, when your knee, of course, elbow and knee not close all the time. But however, you do have the sensation where the moment your knee and elbow separate, you will have a sensation they want to pull back. And then so you have awareness, like let's say shoulder, you shoulder cow. When you cow people, you cow slightly. If you do align over, that means out of alignment. And the reason you do that is because you don't have the magnet feeling. Well, when you separate your shoulder with the hip, your body has to have automatic structure, make sure they can come back together. That a magnet of self-alignment, that is the force of self-alignment. That is actually proper device, which means they are aligned, not fixed. It's never be a static. But it's always there, right? So that's why when you like, let's say chin up, you chin up from like your left side, you always turn around your body, make sure you're right in front of you, because right, otherwise out of alignment, you don't work well, right? And that self-alignment sensation is if you explain your all your form and feeling, and then your everything is automatic there, because why you have that sense where if you are not aligned, you will come back aligned. Right? But how if you are very fixed, and then it's like too fixed up, it doesn't look good. Has to be okay. Allow you to move, but the idea is when you move, you can come back. You can't be aligned, right? The alignment itself is the lively. So I would thought magnet is actually a good way to describe it, particularly when I say, oh, you got a shoulder hip close, and the elbow knee close. And some of the students get confused. What do you mean close? I mean, when I chin up here, elbow gonna away from my knee, right? But at the moment you can turn around to make sure elbow knee close, right? So that sensation is what you want in your form.
I see Alice has just joined us. Alice, are you there? Alice, I see your picture.
I'm here, but I'm not here yet, if you know what I mean.
Okay, because I was hoping you could do something, some kind of Feldenkrais with it, or just whatever you come up with your practice. I hear you're teaching like mad.
Oh, yes. Hang on, I'm actually in the garage.
Why don't we come back
I'm listening to everyone. I'm riveted. It's so interesting, and I'm having to take care of a lot of things around me. That's why I'm not showing my picture.
Someone else
go.
I'll speak
Okay.
to this point
Well,
of
Cheryl
what
and
is the
Justin.
ground.
Yeah.
Is that really the question? How do we experience the ground?
That's a good question.
Reiterate the question, perhaps. Okay, so I'm going to say that rather than feeling it as a magnet or feeling it as, I don't know what else was suggested, but I kind of experience it as a partner. Like I work with the ground. The ground is like under my paws. Like I can like grab it. It pushes me. I push it. It's kind of like pushing. Nice, juicy partner.
Like that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Cheryl, you have some experience that I'm sure is valuable to all of us. What would you say about your present practice?
Can you hear me on the microphone?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little better than trying to speak into the camcorder. Well, I guess the last month, what I've been just so aware of the loss of the integrity of the air. I've been feeling an amount of grief, I would say. But last night I was up visiting my friend who lives above Portola Valley, and it was, just still shining almost, less than full moon, but it was just gorgeous. I visited and it was getting late and I was headed to my car And I didn't go in the car. I was drawn to go up the steps and go to this beautiful landing above the gardens. And I stood and did the washings. I did the form a couple of times, and it was just so wonderful to feel that, you know, the encouragement by the earth, by the air, by the stars and the moon. When I've had from it the last month, what I've been doing inside is just create as pleasant an experience as possible. I don't have enough form full out, but I do gather in the indoor plants and maybe light a candle even and put some flute music on and do a meditation there, and then do standing meditation, and really just challenging myself to, you know, just release all the levels of thought and softening as possible, head to toe. So
That's
just
very
the appreciation for the incredible environment that we've had up until lately. You know, being out in the park week after week after month after years and decades, to have that beautiful environment with the fresh air and the trees to grace us. It's just been really such good fortune to have that.
Right.
Yeah, I see Justin has joined us. I know. Hi, Justin.
I've
Thank
been
you.
here.
Thank you for setting this all up. You guys are wonderful.
I love it. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
Where's Fluffy and Sis?
Nick and Sky are in Arizona. Alexis Fluffy is in Idaho, but she's going to be coming back to the Midwest. So I'm thinking, somebody said maybe Master Zhang might come back. I think Kai said that. So we're definitely look forward to that as an excuse to head on out there.
Justin, sorry, you go ahead there. I do have an update from Shimu.
Oh.
She just talked to me, sent me a message yesterday. He said hi to everyone. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All of you guys. And they are staying in Wuhu right now, and they are very good, very safe, and they wish every one of us are safe. And but she didn't mention they're going to come back, but she definitely wants to make sure I say hi to everyone for them. Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
Master Zhang's birthday coming up October 17.
Yeah.
I wonder if next week we could have everybody give Master Zhang some kind of birthday greeting or memory, and would we be able to send it to him?
And I would. Why not? Yeah, if we can.
But we probably need some translation as well.
But I would think, I'm happy to do translation. But I think if we can do something like this, we'll make him very happy. Yeah.
You say what?
We'll make him very happy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So why don't we? Next week is what, the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we plan on all meeting at the 11th and giving each person a chance to share a memory and then pass along a greeting?
Yep.
Or even better yet, can we get a screenshot of everybody in a meeting? I think he would kind of love that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'd love to have everybody, but not everybody's been tuning in.
Maybe we could send out a call for a birthday screenshot and everyone show up for 10 minutes.
Well, I mean, we're disciples. This is something that you should, when the call goes out, everybody has a responsibility at very least to get on the airwaves for 5 seconds and say what they got to say. I mean, if you're a disciple, we owe it to Master Zhang to continue to show our support and to work together as a group to help assist each other in our own self-development.
Yeah.
I'd love to be there, but I'm playing a concert on that day. So if you want to come to a concert.
Okay. Well, we can maybe tape one of your things and include it in.
All right, Kate, are you having that concert? Are you sending that out to everyone? I haven't seen information on that. We need that.
The 11th. So.
On the 11th. And Justin, if we met on Saturday instead of Sunday, we would be meeting right on his birthday. What if we met on the 17th, it would be exactly on his birthday. I think that would be, that would work for you
17th
guys.
is 2 Saturdays from now.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that sounds good.
Yep.
It is October 19th.
October what?
19th?
I thought it was
That's his
17th.
birthday?
Oh,
Cheryl's nodding.
October the 10th.
What day is it?
we can't hear you, Cheryl.
You're muted.
What day? We can't hear you.
There's the 19th. Let me just check real quickly to see.
The 19th? Well, then if we did it 2 weeks, it would be the 18th.
Yeah.
It would be a day before his birthday, which seems to be better than next
And then we
week.
could just send them a link, Mike.
I can take a photo shot, like a screenshot of everyone, and then send that through WeChat to them clearly. And to happy birthday, I think they would be very happy. I think we just hide that and everybody share. So each one of them share one moment which you think really impressed me, or impressed you from Master John. I know you all have very many moments, right? You need to share one. How about that?
Yeah.
Michael, could you take a screenshot of the people here and then take one of the other people, and then those of us who'll be missing will be in one or the other photos?
Yes.
Who's going to be missing?
Well, we're missing some people.
Today.
I'm not sure exactly who though.
Linda and Shamara.
Linda's not here, right?
Yay, I see you, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Well, you know, folks got to do what they got to do. One of the things I was thinking about, I learned a lot in that last women's thing. It made me think a lot about my teaching and so forth. But in talking and listening to you guys today, there's so much going on. I mean, from one point of view, it's what is your practice? For some, it's primarily for health and relaxation. For some, it's a martial art. But I also believe that there is a spiritual dimension by which ultimately we use the art to get as far as we can until we are able to achieve liberation. Nobody wants to be stuck in a form where there's the 48 or the 24, and that's the be all and ends all. It's just a means to, it's a stairway. And along with all the energy work and the continued opening to sensitivity to energy, and ultimately, where does the energy come from? Is it, I mean, there's a lot of shamanism in Tai Chi and Qigong, you know, whether it's Chinese or African or Native American, you know, the ability to speak to nature and the higher powers directly without any form of somebody else interpreting for us is the ultimate. If you can liberate yourself spiritually, I think that's maybe one of the greatest gifts. I also noticed when I see Feng practice, Feng really goes into a trance. I mean, he closes his eyes. And I mean, especially the last couple of years that I saw him. It's more than just the Hunyuan Qigong. The Hunyuan Qigong is great. It's the most natural, the least likely to cause any problems. And its primary goal is to unify the person in the natural environment. But then there are levels after that where the spiritual dimension opens up. And you have to think about, is that something worth pursuing or not?
Of course, it's worth doing.
I don't think we can separate it. I don't think we ever separate it. It is a moving meditation. It makes us connected to the earth energy and the spirit and the dantian, and it's just part of the moving meditation is a moving meditation that connects us with God, perhaps. I don't know. But for me, it's not separate at all.
No. And
thanks for bringing that up.
That's part of the challenge, is to reach that awareness in this lifetime, or else come back and take Zhang's class again.
And I kind of agree with Barbara. I think and I wouldn't say it's very religious, but definitely it's spiritual. And the
Not
whole
religious.
and for
Absolutely.
me, I think the whole goal when I started the whole thing is about martial arts. Okay, that's how Brian getting me into Mahjong. He got a super martial arts power, right? But after all these years, learn from him, he trained me many times. He almost never told me how to do Qigong. I mean, he showed some, but generally majority is actually probably I figure. But my point was, he always told me, he said, look, that's not the goal. If you think that's a goal, you miss the point. But a lot of time in the beginning part, I actually do not understand it until eventually I aligned it well. I think this whole thing is really about mindful practice. So the martial arts, or you can do meditation, or you do like Qigong, or it's means. It's not a goal. Goal is fully immense.
Ladies brought up the topic last week about what is the extent to which martial arts should be part of one's practice. Xiao Fan, I think you mentioned it. It's kind of interesting concept. Personally, I remember what Jeff was saying. You know, he was saying his teacher just practice 3 techniques, whether it's a kick to the groin or a knee, or, you know, that's all you need, especially as a woman. You don't need a whole bunch of stuff. There's not much that's going to come out of the form in a self-defense situation unless you practice situational defense. And yet, I think there is a benefit to studying with self-defense in mind, to develop the idea that you are willing to encounter the difficulties in life with the spirit of someone who is determined to persevere and hopefully accomplish. And I think that that's part of the martial art tradition, is to encourage our spirits. Just going back to Qi and Shen, to lift our spirits. And I think it's important for women to have a sense of understanding of what the martial arts is without being forced to live in that paradigm and miss out on all the other stuff. I mean, the thing that the women get is so easy, but not for men. You know, you guys see it, you feel it, you connect with it, especially in the natural setting. You know, I think men take a while to get to that point. And that's what Feng said. He said, you know, women will get it much faster than the men. But I mean, ultimately, there is no real self-defense, but there is self-liberation, health, and happiness, enjoyment.
Well, Alice is back now. Alice, let's hear what you have to say. And you're muted, so we can't hear you. You have
Thank
to.
you for
Yay!
that. Details are gold. What can I say? I live in the woods now, and so that in and of itself changed everything for me in regards to my practice. I got to practice. Every day I can get outside. I go to a cherry orchard, which reminds me very much of where we practiced in Golden Gate Park with all the trees. And if my schedule allows it, I can stay there for hours with my dog and go into a trance and practice all kinds of things and think about all kinds of things and lose myself in the process. Since moving away from the Bay Area and into the woods in Michigan, there is no one to teach me here except myself. And Master Zhang's voice is always with me. And it comes up in funny moments, but you know, you have to search is always coming up for me. You must search, you must search. And it's a whole lot of fun searching. What I do have, since I do not have a Tai Chi instructor well, that's not true. Now I've got Michael and Jarrett and Malcolm. I've been attending Malcolm's classes on Sundays when I can. And that has been lovely to reconnect with with the family. But my biggest resource in my own personal practice has and is the Feldenkrais Method. I'm a practitioner of Feldenkrais. Some of you know what it is, and some of you may have never heard of it, but that's something else that I was thrown deeply into when I moved here. I got a practice going, a very vibrant practice that was good until we all locked down. And but that is, the Feldenkrais Method is based on the principles of martial arts as well as human developmental movement. And awareness is the whole magic key. Awareness is the whole magic key. So that has been a great informer for me, and as well as when I'm teaching my students, I interweave Feldenkrais and Tai Chi I interweave Tai Chi into my Feldenkrais practice, and I interweave Feldenkrais into my Tai Chi practice. So I guess you could say I've integrated them, or I continue to work on integrating them. They're so complementary, and because they deal with movement awareness and connection to the environment and what is our relationship to it, because that's, and one relationship, I was very taken with the discussion about Malika, what you said about the ground pushing into you. It's a lovely image and a lovely metaphor, and it's something that Feldenkrais seeks to help the person do, is find how the skeleton can align so that the ground does push into it in a way where the skeleton becomes weightless, and you lose your thoughts and you become awareness and you merge with your environment. So that's what I've been doing.
I often think of the water. I grew up by the ocean. And you're in a boat, and the boat goes down, and then you go down, and the wave lifts you up. You can get that feeling of whole body connectedness with sinking and expanding and opening by imagining yourself on a boat or an elevator.
And also, you think about in the martial arts standing meditation, the ultimate goal is to make you feel weakness.
Is to what?
To make you feel complete weakness. You completely have no weight at all.
Wait.
This is what you do. You standing there, you try to self-adjust your body. You breathing, open, close, open. You search every single imbalance between you and your position, your posture. You could be standing, could be sitting, could be any position of standing, and within around you. And you are develop such a sensation. So once you go to that stage, you will be so sensitive. John always says this, right? You will be standing there like this. If there are two raindrops on left and right hand, you can tell which one is bigger than the other one. This one is heavier, right? That is what you, and once you have that illusion, you will adjust your body in such a way, you literally feel your weakness. You feel the air that comes through, as Anastasia said, I found it's actually really the same principle. You will feel the air coming out of your body, you just skeleton. You are very weakness.
And yet I don't believe that Master Zhang put more emphasis on standing than on form or Chansa-chin or Qigong. I know other people like Feng and Yang Yang all recommend an hour, 2 hours standing. Master Zhang never spent an hour standing, let alone a half hour, let alone 15 minutes maybe.
But he did tell me he usually stand about, the longest he did 7 hours.
How much did he stand?
7 hours.
How long?
7.
He stood 7 hours at one time?
At one time. He tell me, go home standing. But I agree with you. I could never stand that long.
Did you guys see that in San Francisco? I didn't see that in St. Louis.
No, not in San Francisco. When learn Tai Chi.
Oh yeah, when you're starting, sure. That, yeah.
So,
I mean,
but however, I think
first you learn how to stand before you learn how to walk. But after you know how to learn how to walk, I don't think you need to stand so much.
Yeah, but I think they learn the reason standing is important is because standing makes you very quiet and to search this activity in your body. and what
It also builds energy inside. When it's empty on the outside, there's so much going on the inside.
Along with meditation, your mind meditation itself, about all your sensitivity, about all the noise, temperature, flow come together, that immerse your body together, right? And standing itself, you need to develop your muscle sensitivity. You're so sensitive, right? You would be, and then if you feel someplace you're not sensitive, you will develop more. You search, learn, you search more, to be more relaxed, to understand more, right? So that idea, which means layer and layer, you go deeper and deeper. And
well, Master Feng said the Tai Chi form is moving standing. So it's the same as standing, but as you progress, you know, from step to step, you include the chansa and the standing and the sinking and the raising, and it's all in the form, really. But I mean, of course, yeah, your form has to be fairly good in order to experience that. I think you can get the same benefits from standing in the form if limited in time, but I'm not against standing. I found it very useful in many respects.
Yeah,
but with the amount of time I have, I don't have time to, more time to spend on standing.
When I teach like Qigong, if I want people to stand, I do this, right? So I do what Master Zhang does. And so now it's 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You choose any position you want. Now I want you imagine a situation you really feel comfortable. I don't care what it is. I give you an example. I will feel myself riding in front of a Yellowstone great plain, right? Big open space, beautiful. And there's trees, there's mountains, and there's what? There's bisons, many bisons. They're far and away, they're small, they're in group, but some bison is moving away from group. Some bison could be really close to you. Your job is to look at them, to be relaxed. If one of the bison control your thought, take you away, you should stop the meditation. The reason for you to be able to observe the bison, those bison are your thoughts, each individual of them.
But there's a guy named Moni Sato who's written several books, one on concentration, one on meditation. And he was saying initially, there's no sense in talking about meditation until you've developed some ability of concentration. Mm-hmm. And normally, if you're attempting to concentrate, you don't think of no thing, you think of one thing, maybe a sound or a flame or something like that. But one of the exercises he would do would be looking at his, they used to have a thing called wristwatches in the old days. And there was a second hand that would go around. And you would watch the second hand until a thought came in. And then you start all over again. You know, just to build up the ability to concentrate, because, you know, our minds are so fragmented in this crazy culture that we live in. Everything is trying to steal your attention and make it, you know, mix it up with a whole bunch. You know, you have to get out of the game sooner or later. And, but, you know, just sitting there is not going to do it. I mean, you have to develop some discipline in terms of at least concentration before you step off into meditation. And until that happens, it's always nice to have a mentor or a guide.
Yeah. And that I think in the beginning of the meeting, Malika, when you talk about you go to pond, you said the frog, all the stuff talk to you. That feeling, it is meditation.
The feeling is what?
Relaxed. You try to immerse with things around you. You are aware of their existence. Yeah. You make harmony with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Why are we talking? This is a woman's thing.
Yeah. Something that I've been playing with a lot. It's knowing the difference between your hands being relaxed and not relaxed. And I don't know if I'm the only person who has tense hands, but I can check in on my hands during the form for like 100 times during a form. And
look how graceful her hands are, you know,
yeah.
In spite of the fact that she's more than 39, her hands are so beautiful, almost like a dancer's.
Well, thank you. But it's like feeling the knuckles, feeling right in here, feeling the chi to the fingertips, feeling the joints opening. And like the feet have 200,000 sensors in each feet, nerve endings, and I'm sure the hands have as many because the fingers are very attached to the brain. One of the Chen people was talking about, lately there's the fingers now they've discovered have brain function that we usually thought was the brain up here, but it's in your fingers. So your fingers have brains. So naturally, your fingers are going to be tense because our brains are tense. So I think it's a meditation itself to just check in and make sure that your fingers are relaxed, your hands are relaxed, and
Chin Man Ching talked about the beautiful lady's palm, and it was just that.
yeah.
I just want to ask a question. To what extent, asking the women, start with Xiaofan, to what extent is considerations of martial art or self-defense part of your practice, or whether you think it's important or not?
Martial arts are very important as far as function. If you're function for alignment, if you're making a circle, if you're showing people, if you want to see if you have an authentic circle, if you get your circle, and if someone can't push against you, if you can bounce with that, then that you're authentic. So the martial arts acts as a grid to make sure that you can check whether your form is accurate. And so if your hands are if your shoulders are up, people can push you over. If your shoulders are down and you're relaxed, they can't. So I think the martial arts, for me, that's how I like it. And I don't use martial arts a lot, except every now and then a new 6-foot guy comes in, and I just, I don't throw him down like Master Zhang, but it's very surprising how, without even trying, you can use your martial arts experience. You can use just the fullness of your body to maintain your space. And the highest martial arts is health. I mean, that's what you need to defend against most of the time. So I think health is really important, and martial arts is important, but the most important part of self-defense is to learn to relax your body and eat right and sleep and all that. But self-defense is mostly for health, is the biggest self-defense.
Well, Xiaofan, I mean, you came from a martial background. You guys did praying mantis, an art that I really think so much of. I mean, that's really a martial art. How does that integrate with your own Tai Chi practice and understanding?
For me, the short answer about martial arts, health, healing, spiritual components, the short answer is they're on the very top of my list. Very, very important components. Now, after hearing Kat talk about, you develop these, you're not intimidated easily by whoever comes in is so big and such, and you react and such. I feel really, really fortunate that discovering and study Hunyuan system, because the system itself integrate the martial factor and the health aspects so tightly, and I'm just so happy. And one example is enough, that when we do our gentle stretching, you already have your health benefits, because you're not just punching muscular force. You already integrate your entire tendon interior organs and such. So that integration is going to be utilized in your sensitivity on neutralizing when you do your Qingna and redirect the force. And that is going to come naturally once you somewhat focus a lot on this gentle stretching. You will generate and be aware your sensitivity to yourself.
Have you guys ever seen Jeff and Xiaofan practice their praying mantis together?
Probably
Oh,
not.
you don't, is your two-person forum on YouTube anywhere?
No, not
Huh?
you. That
I mean, they are ferocious when they're practicing their praying mantis.
so that's
And
kind of what I thought was great. Just, the system itself is already integrated so well for us to work on that.
Do you want to talk about being perpendicular to the force? Because I think that's kind of critical. What
The
Kat was
spiral?
saying about, yeah, the spiral and
Yeah.
the circle. You're always perpendicular to the force. You're never resisting the force.
Yeah, that's
what do you mean?
neutralization. Well, Shifu had probably high percentage of people in the class that experiences how Shifu neutralized everybody is his spiral, how well his spiral does and how gentle and subtle that is. Your force just got dissolved and disappeared. Then
So what were you saying about perpendicular? What is that?
now it's coming up. So first one is that spiral, and we will go through this.
Do the dalu.
Yeah, what's this spiral for?
The dalu.
Well, we're all sitting down.
Right, you
It's,
do the dalu,
it's
and I
going
push
hard.
forward, and she's perpendicular. She stays perpendicular to my
It's
force.
here.
Oh, come over with your arm. Yeah.
I'm not
Here.
here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm perpendicular to her. She's perpendicular to me. Right? Because she's pushing my arm, but I'm rolling against her, but then she's rolling me. So we're cooperating together. And
She's cutting your angle.
Right.
With a 90-degree.
Right.
Oh, I see.
That's the perpendicularity.
Did John talk about that, or is that something you guys knew about?
He demonstrated to me a lot.
Not verbally explaining in such details. Usually we get it from his illustration or demonstration.
Does he ever do the applications on the women?
Yeah, sure. Why not? There's no difference.
Linda and Xiaofan he would demo on.
Yeah.
But our first Shifu learned from Master Zhang, and we didn't even know that. And
Who was that?
What's that?
Who was that?
Wang Lam Ling teaches in Walnut Creek. He was learned from Ju Kai originally in Hong Kong, learned the praying mantis. But after that, after he came here and he met Zhang, when Zhang came here, Shifu Wang, he integrated a lot of what Master Zhang taught him into the Taiji mantis that we learned.
Wait a minute, is this the guy who wrote a book? No.
No.
Well, there's a lot of famous masters in your area who studied with Master Zhang privately. And the only thing they insisted on was, please don't tell anybody I'm studying from you.
Right.
That happens to our Shifu.
Quite a few people, so-called famous people. But I mean, why is that a shame? I mean, you always learn.
Yeah.
The variant of Taiji mantis we learned was heavily influenced by Zhang's teaching to our Shifu. Because when we came over to Zhang's class, after we left that school, it was like, yeah, this is what we've been learning, but it was at a higher level and more advanced, and it knitted very well what we'd already learned. So you can't say, oh, well, they learned the external form and then came to the internal form.
Well, I mean, sooner or later, everybody has to make the progression to internal. I mean,
Right.
You can't just stick there like you're 20 years old. And the grandmasters do. There's one guy, he's Hungar. He was in Kung Fu Hustle. I can't think of his name offhand. But he was doing a workshop here. A famous Hungar guy. And I was just shocked at how he had bridged crossed over the bridge, it would almost look like Tai Chi. The Hungar, is very tough, very hard, but he had really saved himself years of frustration by going in that direction. I mean, ultimately, you're never going to practice the martial arts continuously unless you make the transition from, brute force to something other.
Well, that's what Xia Fen said in her little biography, I think the last time, was that our Sifu came to us after we studied the external form for 2 years or so. Said, if you want to improve, if you really want to be a good martial artist, you got to learn the internal. And that's when we started the
What a great teacher, just like Feng's teacher.
Started
learn it.
and the
Yeah.
Qigong and standing breathing and all these things that
You guys have to do a video of the two-person form so that everybody can see it.
Anyways, we are very fortunate to have two great shifus.
Yeah, that's great. And not everybody has one is good enough for the most part. So the big thing is, if we're going to do something for Master Zhang's birthday, we might have to do it in 2 sessions, because if people really turn out, it's going to take over an hour to let people say what they want to say and then get someone to translate it. So what I'd like to propose is that, today's the 4th. So maybe next week we can do some, and then the week after that we do some. That's the 18th. And then somehow we get it to Master Zhang. What do you think?
Well, I think today, if Michael would take a screenshot, that would be a beginning. And then I'm okay if you want to divide it into 2 groups or just wait for that weekend before his birthday.
Yeah. Just a question. I just take a beautiful picture of us.
Good, thank you. Because that will be a start. Next time there might be different people here, and together at least he'll have a picture.
Oh, that's a good idea. We have a couple other pictures, group pictures, I think. Well, what are your thoughts about what I'm suggesting for Master Zhang's birthday?
Yeah, I think if we have a photo with our discussion, everybody share a good memory, only one, and
Say
then
what?
good. Yeah, just share what you wish happy birthday to Master
So
Zhang.
just think of one story that you'd like to remind him of, and then wish him a happy birthday. And how do you say happy birthday in Mandarin?
生日快乐.
生日快乐?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
生日快乐.
Very good, Kat. I'm gonna have to go online and learn how to say that. Anybody else want to say anything?
I wonder, I don't know if this would be a good idea. Depends on the turnout of the members. Perhaps if we have many people together, some of us probably don't necessarily need to say a line or 2. We can sing happy birthday to the
I think simple is better somehow, but
Yeah, I think Xiaofang, what you said is right to make sense. We sing together, and everybody we say happy birthday, 生日快乐 together, and then just recording. And I can cut the recording and send the video recording to Master Zhang. I cut about 10 seconds video for him.
And if people really want to add the Chinese at very end of the song, we can just say 师父生日快乐.
Yep.
I mean, but everybody should have a chance to individually wish him a happy birthday. So.
That's fine.
So let's just use these next 2 Sundays to, whoever wants to show up and say something. I mean, I'd be interested to hear what people have to say anyway. I always find it interesting listening to others. So is that good?
Sure.
Next Sunday, 6 o'clock, catch as catch can. Whoever shows up can say something, and we can all sing happy birthday, whatever.
You want to do next Sunday or the Sunday after next Sunday?
Well, if everybody shows up, I mean, we have never had more than, 12 people online, I don't think. So I'm hoping that we can encourage people, because this is for Master Zhang,
But then
put their face up here and say something, and then still have another weekend in case people couldn't do it this weekend.
everything we send an email out, and if we do it, people will show up. If they really don't want to show up, that's fine too. And there's no.
It's not fine, but I mean, if they don't show up, that's all there is to it. But I mean, you know, as disciples, I mean, that one thing is to wish your teacher happy birthday. You know, you can't miss that.
And all he talk about is you guys. That's based on what I heard from Shimu. Shimu cannot forget all the students, all his.
Well, we want to send them some love, and we want them to know that we're talking about them, thinking about them, and you know, trying to enrich our arts by enjoying each other's observations and accomplishments.
Well, I hope we can do that, but I also want to say that it's like a good father and his children, and we're bonded in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it. He knows it.
Mm-hmm.
And a birthday wish would be wonderful. And the other also exists. That's a sort of spiritual quality. You know, somebody said.
Who feels happy on their birthday when nobody calls them?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it will be wonderful if we can do it. And
well, let's just give it a shot. We've got nothing. I want to keep this going. There are other people. I want to interview people personally, individually. You guys and Jared, I think I wanted to talk to. Does anybody see him?
Jared is not here, so yeah, we can talk to him.
To talk to him, and I want to do Malcolm, but I want to get everybody because everybody has, you know, sometimes it takes a little while to really, you know, pan the gold, you know.
And also, you should do Jeff and Xiaofan as well.
For sure, I'm going to do her.
Good background, and also I want to hear inside.
Yeah. So we got all, and anybody can be the group leader. It doesn't matter as long as you know. Mike gets the first of all, we have to have the program, think about what we want, and who's going to be. If there's featured people, put them in there. Mike does the flyer. We put it up on our website and send it out on our emails. And but I mean, there's no special quality. If you have if you want to host a program, just like Kat did tonight, why not?
Yep.
I love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Gotta go.
Okay.
Bye, Dan.
Kat, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Justin. Everybody, great to see you.
Thank
Great
you.
to see all of you. Great to see you.
I'm enjoying the beautiful weather. Finally have one, okay? I want everyone enjoy the beautiful weather in Bay Area. Finally have one day with fresh air.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Exactly. Okay.
That's what we want. Health, good health, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hi, Alice.
Next week, 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Alice,
Mike, we'll talk about it.
Okay. Bye.
How do I get out of here?